A little bit of new video posted by ICE a short time ago of ICE special agents and U.S. Park Police working together conducting enforcement operations on the National Mall, chopper overhead. Meanwhile, back in New York City, Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic Socialist candidate for mayor, leading by 19 points in new polling, says that he will fight to keep New York a sanctuary city.
It is not enough to fight against authoritarianism. What are you also fighting for? We are fighting to keep this city a sanctuary city. We will continue to uphold that status and ensure that we do not allow ICE agents entry into New York City properties, be they schools, hospitals, or even the properties of New York City contractors, unless they can provide a judicial warrant signed by a judge.
Border czar Tom Homan joins me now. Tom, thank you. Great to have you back with us again. Your reaction to what the mayoral candidate had to say there?
Well, he needs to do his research. ICE don't need a judicial warrant to make an arrest. Now, we need a judicial warrant for a search. What he needs to do is homework that ICE don't do operations at schools, churches, or hospitals. He's fear-mongering. But bottom line is, he says he wants to uphold his sanctuary city policy. How about upholding the law? The law says it's a crime to enter this country illegally. It's a violation of federal law. And it's a crime to knowingly hire an illegal alien. So we're going to enforce the law. He can stand by and watch, but he's not going to stop us from doing our operation. Matter of fact, we've already increased staffing in New York City. We're going to flood the zone in New York City. We're already sent many people there. We're going to send many more people there. Because if he wants a sanctuary city, he won't let us in Rikers Island, then we got to go to the neighborhood and find them, which means we need a lot more people to go into the neighborhood and find the bad guy. When we find that bad guy, if he's with others who are in the country illegally, they're coming too. And he's not going to stop it. So he can hate on ICE all he wants, but don't get in our way.
You know, Tom, I want to ask you to respond to this Judge Lewis Kaplan in New York with regard to the 26 Federal Plaza government building, because he is issuing a lawsuit on behalf of the detainees there, a temporary restraining order, because he says that they're inhumane, the way that people are being held. He wants capacity limited, cleanliness, and sleeping mats at that facility. What's your response? Are you familiar with the conditions in that particular facility? What do you have to say about that?
I'm not familiar with that facility. If it's an ICE facility, which I don't know if it is, doesn't sound like it is, because an ICE facility has the highest detention standards in the industry. I'll put an ICE facility up against any county jail, any state prison. Put them side by side. That's why I said from day one, I have no problem with any member of Congress going to an ICE facility and looking at them. The vast majority, if not all the time, they go in there, they're shocked at how high our detention standards are. Matter of fact, when I was the ICE director, I had sheriffs end contracts with us because they said they don't give these kind of standards to U.S. citizens. Why would they give them to illegal aliens? So I want people to go to ice.gov and look up detention standards. You look at those detention standards and what we provide. So I think the judge needs to do their homework too.
Let me ask you about the D.C. situation. And does the fact that there's National Guard there now, it's a sanctuary city, like sanctuary cities across the country, but it's unique in that it has federal control. And now you've got National Guard on the ground side by side with ICE. Does that combination basically negate the sanctuary city status in Washington, D.C., at least for these 30 days in terms of what you can do there, Tom?
Yes. I think D.C. under federal control is not going to be a sanctuary city. We're working with the police hand in hand. When we encounter a criminal illegal alien, they're going to be turned over to ICE. And that's the way it should be. I mean, I'm not saying every illegal alien in D.C. is a criminal, but many are. So these are the people we're going to focus on. An illegal alien criminal safety threat in D.C. is not going to be protected. There's no sanctuary for these people in the city of D.C.
I just want to ask you a little bit of a sidebar question, because I think this is an interesting story today. The government of Mexico has sent 26 cartel members back to the United States, sort of given us people that they believe are involved in the drug trade. They're cartel members. And I'm curious, the stipulation is that there'll be no death penalty for these individuals. We know that President Trump has talked about enacting special forces to shut down some of the cartel drug activity coming in from Mexico. What do you think about this offering from Mexico's side to give up these 26 cartel members as sort of an opener in that exchange?
Well, look, I said from day one, all the way back to the Republican National Convention, that President Trump will wipe the cartels off the face of the earth. And he would designate them terrorist organization, and he has. Because the criminal cartels of Mexico have killed more Americans than every terrorist organization in the world combined. So this is one of the steps President Trump's taken. The Biden administration could have asked for cartel members to be extradited to this country, but they didn't. They had an open border. Multiple pounds of fentanyl came across the open border and killed 250,000 Americans. President Trump has committed to American people going to make this country safe again. He's going to save lives. He's going to shut down the cartels and wipe them off the face of the earth, and that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah. And in February, just weeks after President Trump took office, they sent 29 cartel members back to the United States, and among them was someone who had killed one of our U.S. DEA agents back in 1985. So at some closure of some sort for his family. Tom Homan, thank you very much. Good to have you with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.